Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Today on What's on the Playlist Today, I'd like to talk about the R.E.M's debut album, Murmur, which you'll see an image of right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a crack in it. Can you see it? Can you see it? Crack? Crack in the yeah. There you go. Crack in the CD case. I've had this for a long time, but let's talk about the actual album first before I talk about my feelings. This was released in 1983. It is, as I said, R.E.M's debut album. R.E.M. is a group of four guys from Georgia, started playing music, got popular on the college circuit and some college radio stations and stuff like that. Back before alternative music was a huge thing, they were just kind of an eclectic group. Michael Stipe is a very unique individual who, imparts a lot of meaning into his songs, but they're all personal meanings. It's hidden in the lyrics. It's not very clear. He mumbles a lot, especially in his first couple of albums. In this particular album, and owing to Michael Stipe's uniqueness, they refused, and the band itself, they refused to do any rock cliches. There are no guitar solos. There are no synthesizers. Barry, the drummer, insisted he record in a drummer's booth, which was unheard of at the time. So these guys are just very unique. And I had no idea who they were in 1983. I lived in a small town with a population of around 5,000 people, and the nearest record store was about 25 miles away. So, all I got from music was what was on the radio. I didn't start actually collecting albums until I moved out of the house. And these guys came out when I was in high school. So, when this album was released, Radio Free Europe was an actual charted single. Only reached 78 on the Billboard charts, but still, for a odd little band like this, was pretty, good accomplishment. I think the album went up selling around 200,000 copies, if I remember from my notes when I was reading up on this before I did this thing. Rolling Stone gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And Murmur has gone on to become one of the must-have albums for for musicians and things, because of the band's somewhat unique style. Now for me, now to talk about myself. Again, I had no idea who these guys were until I moved out of the house. I'm working in a restaurant in a kitchen in the city of Portland, Maine. A restaurant called Carber's, which is no longer there. The owner closed it. Anyway, I'm working in the kitchen. It's my first introduction to the punk rock scene. I realize R.E.M. is not a punk rock band, but there was like 3 punk rockers that worked in the kitchen with me. I liked some of them. Some of them, they were okay people. They were fun to party with. They weren't quite as obnoxious as some of punk rockers are depicted in films and media and stuff, although they were kind of out there at times. But anyway, there was a little cassette radio in the kitchen in the back, and people would bring in their tapes and play them, and they would play this band. And there was the song Catapult is my favorite, even though Radio Free Europe was the big pop single. Catapult was a song I really liked. I couldn't remember the name of the band. They would play the tape and say, "Oh, I really like this song. Who is this?" They'd say R.E.M. Like, "Oh, cool." And then 2 days later, they play a tape again. It's like, "Man, this song is awesome. Who is this again?" It's like R.E.M. And they finally I'm tired of telling you who this band is, Tuna. It's R.E.M. I'm not going to tell you again. It's like, I gotta remember this. So I made a little note. And I kind of went and bought the album for myself. In Portland, there was a lot of record stores. I used to, wander around the city of Portland looking for stores to shop in, and there was like 4 record stores in the city. So I found plenty of places to find records back when they still had vinyl and still made records. And bought this album, played it, and played it, and played it, and played it. I used to sit on the couch with my headphones on, cranking this thing up. This music and band just absorbed me. Or no, I absorbed them through osmosis. And I quickly went out and bought all the other stuff. And R.E.M. became one of my favorite bands of the late 80s and early 90s. Just played their stuff constantly. And to this day, Murmur is still one of my top albums. One of my favorite records to play. I should say albums. They're not records anymore. They don't make records. So yeah, I don't know what it is about it, because it doesn't really have any of my hooks. You know, there's some acoustic guitar, which is one of my hooks, but there's no vocal harmony, and Michael Stipe's lyrics are incomprehensible. And for someone who loves to sing along with the songs, why would I don't know. But something about this music just sucked me in and kept me there for a very long time. Definitely, this is one of my top albums, which I've said. I'm a rambling old man. I'm going to repeat myself. I'm getting old. And if you've never listened to R.E.M., their later stuff is tamer. This is definitely an early work. You can tell it's a lot more raw and less polished than some of their later stuff. But I think that makes it better, in my opinion. Highly recommend it. Definitely A+ material for me, in spite of the fact that I acknowledge that it's not as polished as their other stuff. But it's not all about the polish. It's what you got. It's what you got going on. It's what you're doing with it. So, highly recommend this album. As always, thanks for watching my videos. As always, why would you watch them in the first place? And until next time, good hunting.